Hi everyone, I just wanted to take a moment to make this video. This is my first YouTube video. It could very well be my last. I just felt compelled for whatever reason to make this video in response to other videos that I've seen regarding Amber Lynn or Amber Reid and her recent cancer diagnosis of uterine cancer or womb cancer. The reason why I'm making this video is because there seem to be two polarizing opinions that I've seen on YouTube, and that is that Amber Reid is lying about her diagnosis or she is telling the truth. And my opinion or my theory is that she is not telling the truth, but nor is she lying about her diagnosis. My opinion is that she is having what I call a cancer scare. And that is when you go to a doctor and find out that something is wrong and they throw out the word cancer, precancerous, or could be cancer. We have to screen for cancer. We have to make sure that it isn't cancer. You know, whatever terminology that it is that they're using, in some people all they are hearing is the word cancer and it freaks them out. So typically what doctors will do is they will set you up for various testing to determine what type of cancer it is, how severe it is, if it has spread to anywhere else in the body. They need to be very thorough before they can make a full assessment as to what is going on, so that way they can come up with a treatment plan. The one thing that I did find very odd, and again, I don't claim to be an expert here, I don't know with absolute certainty, but it's my understanding that when she went to the hospital, she was pretty much diagnosed with uterine cancer or womb cancer right away, you know, before she got home. And it could just be my ignorance, but I'm very surprised if this were actually the case. I think that what could have happened is she went to the hospital or she went to the doctor complaining that she had been bleeding for a long time and that the bleeding sort of intensified and was concerning, and went to the doctor to be looked at. And unfortunately, that is a symptom or could be a symptom of uterine cancer. So it is in the doctor's best interest and the patient's best interest that they do get a full screening done, undergo a variety of different tests to either rule it out or confirm that there is a presence of cancer there. So my theory is that she was scared by the idea that she could have cancer, but it hasn't been definitively proven that she has cancer. And there is a difference there. So when she created her video with her reaction to hearing this news, I do believe that her emotions and were genuine. I don't think that they were exaggerated. I do think she was scared, and it is scary. I have been there myself, where I have had precancerous cells detected in my cervix and had to have surgery to get those removed. But they were precancerous. Luckily, they had not developed into cancer because they were discovered early. So this isn't to say that she definitely does not have cancer. That I don't actually believe that to be strictly or necessarily true. I think it is very likely, especially given the circumstances with her weight and her eating habits, that it is likely that she could have cancer in her uterus. She also did have the symptoms of it, but it could also be not cancer. It could be precancer. It could be a benign tumor in her uterus. It could be any number of things, and that is why she's undergoing all of these tests to confirm whether or not it is indeed cancer. So just keep this in mind when you are watching her videos. Now, here's the problem that I have. Just hypothetically, if I am correct and she hasn't been officially diagnosed with cancer, then If she finds out she doesn't have cancer, then where does she go from here? Because she has already announced to the YouTube community and her subscribers that she does in fact have cancer. So if it is discovered that she doesn't, then she will once again come across to her subscribers as being disingenuous or a liar, when she may not have ever intended it for it to be that way. For all I know, she could be lying right out of her mouth, but I just, based on her overall reaction, I find that would be very difficult for even an excellent liar to pull off a performance like that. Having said that, I do think that she does have a history of not exactly telling the full truth about situations. And I think that's quite evident in the way that she tends to respond to some of the questions she receives with extremely vague answers that, don't really answer anything. They are extremely vague. We don't actually know what's going on at all. I don't even know why she brings things up. And saying, like she's saying she was offered 2 different treatments options, but she wasn't going to say what those treatment options were. I don't understand why you wouldn't say that. Because she's saying, she'll tell us what her decision is, but will she, if she doesn't even tell us what those choices were? I feel like this is a common occurrence and this happens quite frequently, so I'm not holding my breath for that at all. So the other thing I want to talk about too is her bleeding. Again, this could very well be the fact that she was having symptoms of uterine cancer, but it is also very common in people that have weight issues. I myself being one of them. And I have also gone through periods, no pun intended, well, maybe, where I have gone for long times without having a period, and I have gone for longer times having them. And I think it's obviously not good, but I don't think it's necessarily uncommon either when you do have weight issues. I have a friend, for example, that also suffers from PCOS, which is what I have also, and she also bled every day for at least 2 years, maybe longer, but I don't think her flow was as heavy as what Amber Reid's was. So, obviously this is not normal or healthy, but it doesn't necessarily indicate cancer. But at the same time, you can't rule it out either. It's just best to get it checked out. The other thing that concerns me is how she has continued to live this unhealthy lifestyle even after learning of her diagnosis. Again, I don't want to compare myself necessarily to other people, but 3 years ago I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes after a long time of really living just a really crappy, unhealthy lifestyle, just binge eating, not exercising. This was just how I was dealing with stress. And once I learned that I had type 2 diabetes, that scared me. And I was ready to start making changes to my diet immediately, because I knew that if I didn't, the diabetes would get worse. And I was lucky in the sense that it was caught early and I did not have any complications from it yet. So that's what I had to do. I started researching what the best diets were for people that have type 2 diabetes, and discovered that basically it has more to do with hormones than it does with calories. Not to say that calories aren't important, but you have to understand that insulin is a hormone, and it plays a huge role in gaining weight and the storage of those leftover calories. So all that energy is going to get stored from insulin. So how do you counteract that? Well, you try to limit eating foods that are going to cause spikes in your insulin levels, aka carbohydrates, glucose, sugar. And what do cells in the body crave? They crave glucose. And there's some research that shows that cancer cells consume glucose at a much faster rate than other types of cells in the body. So that would be my first piece of advice to Amber, is to stop eating junk food. Stop eating carbohydrates, stop eating refined sugars, simple carbohydrates. You have to do it, because there is a risk that in continuing to eat the way that she has will potentially make the cancer worse, spread faster. But in any case, it certainly can't be helping anything. So I do think that that's something she should do, and I am quite shocked that upon hearing the news, which she clearly conveyed was extremely distressing, wasn't enough of a wake-up call to make changes to her diet and her lifestyle. And at this point, if this hasn't scared her into it, I'm not sure if anything will. So that's all I really have to say about the matter. Just that there isn't another option. She could just be exaggerating. It may not be that she's lying or telling the truth. It could just be a mix of both. It could be that she is just exaggerating, that she heard the term cancer, got freaked out. In her mind, it was processing as you have cancer rather than you might have cancer. And she's going through all of the tests right now to determine if it's there, and if it is there, how bad it is. And from there, they will discuss treatment options with her. So once she is actually in the process of treatment, that's when we can know for sure that she has a confirmed diagnosis of the cancer, once she starts treatment for it. So in the meantime, I would just say, don't say that she doesn't have it or that she definitely has it. Just take it with a grain of salt. We know that she has had a history before of complaining about a multitude of illnesses. And I really don't want to suggest or say that she doesn't, or undermine the seriousness of cancer of any kind. I certainly hope that she doesn't. If she does, then I sincerely hope that treatment will work. And I do hope that she will find some motivation to make the changes that she needs for her own health. Like I said, this has to be the biggest motivator. And if this isn't enough motivation, then what could possibly happen that could motivate her to lose weight and change her diet? So thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you found this information useful, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks.